Can there be a more definitive life-changing moment than ever? Like that was just, it just changed everything. It changed my family history. When Santina said goodbye to the WWE Universe, I started crying for real.
You were able to move on from that, almost win the Royal Rumble, almost win the WWE Championship.
They're like, we thought you were going to WrestleMania. You were going to main event WrestleMania. And they were like, and we were good with it.
Man, I just love Santino. Such a great conversation with Santino. We did this in Las Vegas. This was the same weekend, the same day actually, as that Bully Ray interview that you saw posted last week on the channel. Hope you enjoyed that conversation. Hope you enjoy this one as well. Of course, when you think of Santino, you think of the amazingly hilarious comedic moments that he brought us. John Cena, Santina, the Cobra, so many moments like that, right? But he could go in the ring, and he was this close, like this close to becoming the champion at Elimination Chamber, and we talk about that. We talk about a bunch of things here, and it was just so great to be able to sit down in person, like I said, in Las Vegas for this, and because we did this on location, I was packed with my meals, ready to go, so big shout out to Factor for keeping me fueled and also for sponsoring this video. There is a reason that Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. You get nutritious, chef-prepared meals that are delivered straight to your door, which give you the time and energy to tackle everything you have on your to-do list. What I love about Factor is you skip the trip to the grocery store. You skip the whole meal prep, the chopping, the cleanup. You skip it all. Your meals get delivered right to you, then you go to your fridge, you pick out which one am I gonna eat. Oh, baby, jalapeno lime cheddar chicken. Woo, that sounds incredible. Poke a few holes in there, pop it in the microwave, and just 2 minutes later, 2 minutes later, you've got a meal that is ready to be eaten. And how good does that look? You can even see the jalapenos in there. Oh man. The reason these meals are so good is they're fresh and never frozen. So while I dig into this meal, you should go to factor75.com. Actually, I will stop pointing with a knife here. I will point with a fork instead. Go to factor75.com or click that link below and use the code CVV50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. It's factor75.com or click that link below. The code is CVV50 for 50% off your first Factor box. So I will enjoy this. You enjoy this conversation with Santino Marella. Always good to talk to a fellow Canadian. Although you're still living there.
Yeah. I'm actually moved up north, about an hour and a half north of Toronto, in the Georgian Bay region. So it's, uber Canadian. It's a strong Métis region where the French Canadians and the indigenous population had a great relationship, and it's very historic. And we love it up there. We absolutely love it.
You were living in Mississauga. So
born and raised.
Yeah. What was the goal here with moving north?
COVID had a lot to do with it. We just kind of got a little just fed up, and we just wanted to change. And it was in our plan to do that, but it just got sped up. And man, I'm still in the honeymoon stage. It's been over 2 years, and I wake up and look out in my backyard, and I'm like, I can't believe we live here. It's amazing.
What kind of animals stop by?
Oh man, deer every night. I put corn out for them. We back onto 500 acres of environmentally protected land. We have a couple acres, and we're like a minute walk from the beach. And this farm, we go to the farm to get our our vegetables in the summer and stuff. It's honestly, it's incredible.
This is what no one pictures of Santino Marella, by the way.
Yeah, riding mower and, we're overalls in the summer. Yeah, very, very different.
Actually, I feel like you can't just say Santino Marella. You have to say Santino Marella.
Santino Marella.
Oh, that's so good. Were you always able to do that accent?
Well, it's funny. My high school, almost my entire high school, all the parents were from another country. So I was a Catholic school. So Maltese, Polish, Portuguese, Italian, Croatian. And so all our parents had these funny accents. They all spoke English, but they had accents. So I have tons of material just from my friends' parents. And that was kind of a lot of my friends even call me out on it. Because my neighbor, Son of a Gun Ivan, is where I got Son of a Gun from. And it's literally my next door neighbor. And it caught on. But yeah, I have a plethora of material to choose from.
I think you might have had one of, if not the best WWE debuts of all time.
Someone was talking about it yesterday. Yeah, people believed it. Yeah. People really believed it. And when I watch the footage, I can break it down to the moment where I got them. It's when Vince says, you. And I'm like, talking to me kind of thing. Like the guy, and I think I even pointed to the guy beside me like him. And they're like, no, you. And the confusion I had with like, is this like for real me? That was the moment people were like, this guy's really coming out of the audience.
Yeah.
And, so now, okay, that's like 15 years ago, 16 years ago in April. So there's kids that were 10 years old that are now 26 years old. And they're telling me, like they thought it was real for years and years and years and years.
Well, it's also Vince going, you do speak English, right? And you're like, see. And then the crowd goes into the soccer chant and they're right behind you. You're the biggest baby face of the whole night from just saying the word yes.
Yeah. So I was driving to Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and I was in developmental. It was a Friday. And Nova, Mike Bucci, called me and he's like, Boris, my character was Boris at the time. He goes, Boris, can you speak Italian? And like a month earlier, Dusty Rhodes called this guy, Fearless Jack Bull, hilarious gimmick. It was like an past his prime alcoholic, Evil Knievel comedy gimmick. And he said, can you ride a motorcycle? And he thought it was someone impersonating Dusty. And he said, nope, because everyone does a Dusty impersonation, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, can you learn to ride a motorcycle? He's like, nope. And, that was the end of the conversation. Then he looked and saw the 203 area code, Stamford, Connecticut, and had like a heart attack. And Cody was actually just in developmental. So Dusty came down to kind of see Cody and talk to the class. And he said, if anybody ever calls you and says, can you do something? The answer is yes. And of course. And then you better learn how to do it. And like a month later, they call me and they say, can you speak Italian? And I'm like, yes. And then after I said a few lines, because I used to work downtown Toronto in rush hour traffic, I had a cassette in my car that would just play and like flip over and play. And so in rush hour traffic, I'd listen to this tourist Italian tape. And so I said a few lines from the tape. Like I said, vorrei un mezzo chilo di formaggio. It means I want to buy a half kilo of cheese. Like something you would say at a market.
Yeah. It's a lot of cheese, by the way.
A lot of cheese. And I could see them sitting at like a boardroom table with a speaker, and they're all like, I don't know, like, sounded good to me. I don't know. And they're like, okay, you're gonna fly out tomorrow. You might debut on Monday. So they sent me my passport like that day. I flew out. Well, first I went to Borders, and I bought like 8 DVDs.
The bookstore.
Yeah. I bought DVDs or CDs for Italian. I downloaded them to my iPod. And the entire flight, I'm just drinking espressos, trying to learn Italian on the way there. And that was it. Yeah. Then so I got there Sunday morning, and then I had a day in Milan by myself, and then I debuted the next day. And then I come home and they're like, pack your bags, you're on the road. And so it was 0 to on the road. And then I was on the road for like 8 years straight.
But it's not just that you were believable in your debut. You're in the ring with Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
You're in the ring with Umaga, the Intercontinental Champion. Then you win the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, it was. I mean, can there be a more definitive, life-changing moment than ever? Like it just changed everything. It changed my family history, and it was an incredible moment. So sometimes a lot of time goes by without me watching the footage, and then I watch it back. I'm like, man, what the heck was I thinking? I remember repeating to myself, "You're prepared. You are prepared. You're over-prepared. This is what you trained for. Why are you nervous when you're reaching the finish line? Like, I mean, imagine running a race and the finish line's coming and you're getting nervous. This is this was our goal, and just talking myself through it, and I guess we hit a home run.
So, what day do you go from being in the back with everybody else to making the transition to you're an audience member for the beginning of the show?
Yeah, so it's funny. This was in the middle of a tour. So I'm at the hotel and no one's there. They come on that night. So I'm already in my room sleeping. So I wake up, there's the bus is leaving at whatever, 10 a.m. or something. And I come down to go on the bus. And, I knew some people from OVW. But some people that were in the WWE, they didn't know who I was. They thought I worked for the European office or something. And then I'm just hanging around in Raw, and then someone calls me and says, Vince would like to speak to you. And I'm like, that's the first time I met Vince and stuff. And, amazing experience. Puts everything down, turns, you have his full attention and Just, it was a very good experience.
So at what point, like, I imagine you get there with everybody else. Then when do they go, okay, well, Santino, you're going to go out in the crowd now?
Oh, so, okay. So as I'm walking in the door, I had met Arn Anderson before at OVW, and literally, like, they're walking out of the production meeting. He has his, his papers in his back pocket, and he walks by and goes, "Hey, kid, you having a good day? You're winning the IC strap," and walks away. I'm like, IC strap? That means Intercontinental Championship? Like, did I just hear that right? And then someone confirmed it. We had a little walkthrough, and then the show starts, and then they bring me out to a seat that says reserved. And then the scene. The crazy thing was when Vince's music hit, everybody rushed the barricade, like 4 or 5 people deep. And I'm like, oh my God, he's not going to see me. And I'm like panicking. And then slowly, as he's talking, they kind of filtered back to their seats. And then Umaga came out, and it might have been the other order, but they rushed the barricade again. I go, oh my God, I lost my opportunity again. And then they kind of filtered back to their seats. And then when he said, "Does anybody in the audience?" And I'm like, "Phew," and I was there. I was front row. I think I even had to, nudge someone out of the way. But I had to make sure he can see me. And then he scanned the audience and said, "You, that guy."
Yeah, in the brown shirt.
Yeah. I still have that shirt. I'm saving it for the movie.
What a transition, though, because your character was like this badass wrestler to then you became one of the greatest comedic characters of all time. Where did that shift happen?
The shift happened. So the WWE universe, as you probably know, they do not like to be force-fed anything. And all of a sudden, this guy comes out of the audience, and he beats Chris Masters and Shelton Benjamin, a sneak a victory. And it's like, if he's not fully trained, he's beating the roster. Kind of doesn't make sense. And then there was a pay-per-view in the summer where Umaga was like killing me in Houston, and the audience was like, "One more time," and like the audience wasn't taking to the initial babyface Santino. That was kind of like just thrust into them. So they said, "Okay, we're gonna have to turn him heel, and if that doesn't work, see you later, repackage." And immediately upon turning heel, Vince found it very funny, and because once I did my first heel promo, I did guest commentary. Next week, another promo, and another pre-tape, because I actually separated my shoulder, this one. So it was an opportunity to speak on the mic. And, people that were in Gorilla were like, "Dude, Vince is cracking up when you're out there. He loves the character as a heel. So if you can pop Vince, you got a job, right?" That's the idea. So Vince was a fan, and from what I hear, and and there was actually no competition for a long time in terms of the comedic, the comic relief character. Yeah. R-Truth a little bit at the time. He's kind of doing it now, but at the time there was really no one was like, it was like they forgot about that.
Hornswoggle?
A little bit, yeah, but I was on Raw most of the time. So there was, for a long time, I just kept quiet. I didn't want to draw any attention to it, but there was no competition.
There's a whole compilation online of you getting other wrestlers to break character.
Oh, yeah.
Who is your favorite to get to break?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably John Cena. When I called him John Cena. And it's funny because people come up to me at like signings or conventions, and they're like, "We can't call him John Cena. For the last 15 years, we call him John Cena." And like, it changed the way a lot of people speak to him. But it was just so sudden. Like the pop was just kind of like, he just caught himself. But it actually became a goal of mine to try and pop everybody.
I feel like you popped Vince during a little backstage promo. A little smirk, at least, from him.
Yeah. The Donald Trump thing when Santina got fired, I think, yeah.
I for years called Rey I can't even say it now. Rey Mysterio. Rey Maschio.
Mastrio. So in my phone, he's actually Rey Mastrio.
Where do you come up with these?
I don't know, man. My dad actually will mispronounce people's names. Like if we have a friend named Kirk, he calls him Kurt or things like that. And I guess that's where it's from. The Trailer Park Boys are really good at that too. I appreciate it because I do the same thing.
Chris Jericho was doing kind of like that, but more like in an insulting way. Like when Chris Jericho would call people like Kirk Angel, Chris Benoit, but he was doing it like to insult them. You were doing it like in this like oblivious manner.
Yeah, oblivious. That's what makes it funny is that he's not trying to be funny.
So at what point did you go, okay, well, this is kind of funny. Vince is kind of into this. When do you go all in? Like, all right, I'm doing this thing. Whatever they pitch to me, I'm in.
Yeah, my philosophy was always, if you're given lemons, you make lemonade. And if this is going to be the character, then, I'm going to be the funniest guy I can be. And you have to be very giving, and you can't take it too. Santino got beaten up a lot in the beginning, and you can't take it personal. It's not, it's a show. It's not real competition. And, I was known for being very giving in matches and in general. And that was really the base of it, was just swing for the fences every single time. Whatever you're given, just I was appreciative from day one. When I first got there seemed to be a little bit of a locker room culture of people being dissatisfied. Well, what's the point? They chose that guy, and whatever. We're gonna do jobs, and I'm like, this is the WWE. I love being here, and this is amazing. I was 33 years old when I debuted, and I was green, and I'm 5'10". Like, I'm already defying the odds just being here.
Yeah.
So I was appreciative from day one, and I was super grateful my entire career. And I had people at the end of my career come up to me and say, you're always such a pleasure to work with. Like, thank you. You never had a problem doing anything with anybody, and you made it really easy, and you make it fun. And I'm having an awesome time. Like, look, this is our job. This is amazing, So I was very conscious of that the whole time.
You were really good at getting things over, like the Cobra, the trumpet. Was there anything you tried to get over that you realized after a few weeks, like, no, it's not going to happen?
There was one spot we did once that I thought it was funny. Actually, it was funny, but okay. So the bad guys took the Cobra and they put it on their turnbuckle. So I take this horrible heat, just a beating during the heat. And finally, I get rid of one guy and get rid of the other guy. And there's nothing between me and my partner. So I'm in the middle of the ring, and he's like, going crazy. It was Brodus Clay going, come on. Now is the time. Go. And I look back at the Cobra on the heel turnbuckle pad. And I'm like, he's like, forget the Cobra, just come on. And I'm like looking back at the Cobra, looking at him, looking at the Cobra. And I'm like, and I go get the Cobra and I turn, boom, and they stop me. And the audience was legitimately so disappointed with that decision that they didn't even laugh. They were like upset. And then I came back and Messina's like, well, that failed kind of thing. I'm like, no, that's funny. Like, anyway, a year later, I was same place. It was a European tour. It was Minehead, England, like the last day of the tour. That's why I tried something funny. And then I did it again and they laughed. So I knew it just, they got it the second time.
Where did you come up with the Cobra?
The Cobra, I was in Japan. So for most of 2004, I was living in Japan. And after the shows there, we all go to a bar, a restaurant, and everything. And there was a gentleman named Taro who was friends with my coach, Mr. Ishikawa. And he just was sitting at the table and he just showed me this thing where he transforms his arm into this little kind of wooden puppet type thing. And I remember looking at Mr. Ishikawa and being like, I don't get it. What is that? He goes, oh, it's just a funny thing he does, So he made me try it. The next time I saw him, he's like, do you remember how to do it? And that was it. That was it. That was just a little funny thing between us. I'm guessing about 5 years later, I believe it was Atlanta. And I was wrestling either Chavo or Carlito. I think it was Chavo. And I said, hey, I'm gonna try something during my comeback. So it's like, jab and clothesline or whatever, punch. And then I stop and do this transformation of my arm and I hit him. And he turns away into a schoolboy. And without seeing it on TV, the audience immediately laughed. So, and Cena, I always sat beside Cena. So he came back, I came back through the curtain. He's like, I would keep that if I were you. That was funny. And so I was doing it only on live events. And then one day I go to TV and Ricky Steamboat was my producer. And he's like, I was wrestling Zack Ryder. And he goes, you're going over with the Cobra. Vince wants to see the Cobra. I'm like, Vince knows about the Cobra? He goes, yeah, he reads the reports. And I go, okay. So then, yeah, I did the Cobra, but the Cobra was crazy. Like in 3 weeks, really quickly, I would gesture for it, and I would see in my peripheral vision, like the entire arena, like jumping up,
and they're doing it with you too.
And I'm like, really? Like I'm okay. They like it. I mean, I didn't find it that spectacular, but they loved it. So, and then I think I did it for like a year without the sleeve, and then we introduced the sleeve.
That's brilliant marketing. Is that the piece of merchandise that you made the most money on?
Yeah, well, yeah, more than T-shirts for sure. It's funny. I was calculating the money, but I miscalculated the percentages and everything. And I thought of making like I'm gonna make extra $1,000 a day for doing nothing, and it was not $1,000 a day.
But to be able to turn that into it was brilliant to do the motion, but then to like actually put the sleeve on there, and now the kids can buy the sleeve. Whose ever idea that was, that's brilliant.
I think Damien Sandow told me about to get a piece of merchandise. But one of the biggest compliments I ever had, I was doing a signing. This guy came up to me and he said, "Hey, when I was in elementary school, they had to ban the Cobra from my school, like on the announcements, because everyone was Cobraing each other."
That
and
is
like,
so good.
That's like I made it. That's like pop culture, mainstream. Like if the Cobra has to be banned, the Cobra's over.
Because in my time, suck it was banned.
Okay,
you couldn't be running around saying suck it to people. The Cobra it's a deadly move, right? Like nobody kicks out of the Cobra.
Once.
I know. Just once.
Daniel Bryan.
That is pretty crazy though, that you do a move like that and like it's over.
Yeah, and it's funny because people would like look forward to putting it over. JTG has one of the best cells ever. He does like that kind of neurotoxin cell. Myers did a flip bump one time. That was a bit too much. But no, I mean, Cena said if he ever takes the Cobra, he's not moving for like half an hour,
I put it up there with the people's elbow because it's a move that probably shouldn't be a finisher, but it's so incredibly entertaining. The crowd is so into it that it works.
Well, it's funny because when you're in school, they tell you to come up with a finisher that you can do to anybody.
Right.
And this is literally, you can do that to anybody. It's a little chicken peck. And I mean, like, I can be 70 years old and make an appearance somewhere and someone pokes me and says, "You're an old man." And out comes the Cobra and I give him a chicken peck to the neck. And I can do it forever.
Was it your idea to grow out the unibrow?
Oh my God. No, it was mascara actually. So I don't remember how or when I first did it, but.
So you're saying all these years later, it was not a real unibrow?
No, God, no. It's just, but it went on really, okay, mascara has the brush and the bristles. So it takes 2 seconds. Just go boop, boop, and it's like done. And it's funny, there was a kid at the airport who worked at the airport who had a legitimate unibrow, and he was so happy to see me because like
representation,
like, look, I'm like you. And then he looks at me like, where's yours? And I'm like, sorry, man. But Vince thought it was hilarious. So then when I tried to stop doing it, I had to keep doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was part of the gimmick.
And then I think I was either injured or I had some time off, and I came back and I didn't do it. No one noticed. But one day I tried to do like a different, little bit of a change to Santino. I got like my eyebrows kind of done, some highlights, and I went tanning, and Vince's like, no. Too handsome for Santino. So yeah, I had to dye my hair back and put the unibrow back. And then the speed walk was the same thing.
Speed walk.
Like it was funny in the beginning, but like Vince wanted me to go around the ring twice. And I'm like, it's just like, but whatever, whatever Vince wants, Vince gets.
But this goes back to what I was just saying. Like everything that you did, it got over. Like the silliest, most ridiculous things you would get over.
Yeah, it's funny. If I do it now, the speed walk, even for a little bit, it's I guess it's nostalgic now for some people.
Can you turn the accent on like that?
Yeah.
Like we could do the rest of the interview with the accent?
Sure, of course we can, no problem.
That's incredible. When you talk about WrestleMania moments, is WrestleMania 25 considered your WrestleMania moment?
Is that the Santina one?
Yeah. I love that you didn't even know.
Yeah. No, I'm bad with the years and the numbers. It's oddly enough, that was my biggest WrestleMania moment, actually. I was the captain of Team Teddy. I had a match with Kofi against Big Show and Kane. So I had some matches, but that was like the most highlighted, spotlighted moment in WrestleMania.
What was the lead up to that?
So the lead up was the storyline with Beth Phoenix and myself,
Right.
where I was battling to be the alpha in the relationship. So the relationship dynamics was what we were going after. And I was insecure, and I'm trying to show that men are better athletes. So I'm going to dress up as a woman and enter the women's battle royal. And the whole idea was just for their storyline with Beth and I. And it was supposed to be a one-off, but it was so funny that it ended up lasting for months and months. I had to get fake lashes every day and all that stuff. I had to go shopping in Houston at a mall for like the gear that day.
What?
Yeah.
How did you know what to look for?
How did so the arms, I got fishnet stockings, and I cut off the feet, and I cut like the crotch out, and then I put my arms, so that was like a crop top, fishnet crop top. I think somebody made the skirt. And then it was just like pink Converse and a bra. I bought a bra. And it's funny because I said to the lady, excuse me, do you have a bra that'll fit me? She goes, oh, this is in Texas. She goes, you're a little itty bitty thing, no problem. And like, the bra was not a problem. And then, the wig and it's so funny. I had the strap. You can see the strap for the wig so it didn't fall off. But I still have the stuff at home too. I went to Hot Topic and bought like a belt. And
was there any point when this is being pitched to you when you're like, that can't be serious, that I'm gonna wrestle as a woman at WrestleMania?
Yeah. So my understanding, and what one of my original coach Don Koloff said, is like when you dress as a woman, it's like they're squeezing out the last bit of water out of the rag type thing. Like this kind of could be the end, but it wasn't. No, we came back and we were Santino for years after that, and I was a little concerned about that. Like, oh no, like how do you come back from that? Right? Doing it, I had no problem. Actually, it's some of my best work ever, to be honest, in terms of acting and bringing the character to life. Because now I had to have superimposed two accents, the Italian accent and a woman's voice. So yeah, and some of the pre-tapes we did as Santina were hilarious. And when Santina said goodbye to the WWE Universe, I started crying for real backstage. I remember Josh Matthews was there, and he's like, when it was cut, he was like, oh my God, that was like an Oscar performance. I started really getting tears. Like I just got into it. I got into the character. Yeah, Santino was actually pretty fun.
It's amazing because, like you said, that's often the last gimmick for people. You were able to move on from that, almost win the Royal Rumble, almost win the WWE Championship. That moment at at the Royal Rumble in 2011, where it's you and Del Rio left in there, that crowd really wanted you to win the Rumble.
Yeah, and again, when I talk to guys, kind of around our age that watch wrestling with their friends, they're like, we thought you were going to WrestleMania. You were going to main event WrestleMania, and they were like, and we were good with it.
Yeah,
we were good. It was like, okay, it kind of felt that the momentum was going that way, and then the Elimination Chamber, yeah, like that. It's funny, I didn't really realize the magnitude of the crowd reaction, but when I watch it back, because even when I came back, Cena's like, I know what I'm capable of, and he goes, I cannot get that crowd that hot tonight. Because that was insane. Everyone in the back, I got like a handful of standing ovations in my career, and that was one when I came back, and everyone was. And I honestly thought that there was going to be an audible called, and I was going to win the title. And Mike Chioda was watching Vince the whole time, watching Vince. He said that he thought also Vince was about to call an audible.
So like in the ring, they would have,
like the referee would have came and said, "Change of plans. Santino's going over."
Wow.
And it's happened in the past. I
Sure.
just felt like the momentum was there, and I don't know how close it was, to be honest, if that was even going to happen. But
there was something about you putting the sleeve on, hitting the Cobra, and like up to that point, no one's kicked out of this.
no one with the sleeve. Sheamus kicked out once without the sleeve, but with the sleeve, no one had ever kicked out.
So it's like, well, this is it.
It's a foregone
We've got a new
conclusion.
champion.
Yeah. So Pete Dunne was actually telling me that they call it they call it a Santino spot when you're putting together a match. If it is, how did you describe it? It's like a last ditch effort, like a fake surprise victory where the guy's getting beaten up and all of a sudden small package and you think, oh my God, he's going to beat him kind of thing. And the whole idea is if everybody in the audience thinks that, he's going to win, and it's a huge swerve, they call it the Santino spot because everybody thought that was it.
Wow. But from almost winning the Royal Rumble to then making history with the fastest Royal Rumble elimination.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have done that even faster?
I know how to beat the record. I'm the only one that knows how to do it. Well, no one's done it yet. But that's a perfect example of when you're given lemons, you make lemonade. You know, when we were going through the Rumble, and Dean Malenko was like, you're coming out, you're getting eliminated pretty fast. And I said, man, that's cool. I go, can we try and break the record? And he's like, let me get back to you.
What was the record at that point?
Like 2 seconds. I think it was the Warlord.
Yeah.
And he came back to me and said, by the way, you're good on trying to break the record. So Kane had a huge part in that. He had to be there at that moment.
Right.
I slid under, stood up, and I'm gone. I'm going. And he was there, man. He was there. Like, it was perfect.
And it's 1.09 seconds.
Yeah.
You think you can beat that?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll get an opportunity?
I don't know.
I mean, you're doing great stuff right now in Impact Wrestling.
Oh man, I love Impact Wrestling. Yeah, it's. I mean, and the thing is, because I have small children at home, so to go back on the road full time is like a terrifying thought of that missing out that time. So this schedule is right up my alley. Incredible locker room, incredible management. Has that underdog feel, because you don't have those huge money behind it, but the in-ring product is awesome.
It's so good. And there is, unfortunately, a lot of wrestling fans out there that don't watch anything really other than WWE, or perhaps other than WWE and AEW. But if you've never seen a Josh Alexander match,
yeah,
stop what you're doing right now and put one on.
Man, every time he comes out, you feel like you're witnessing something special.
Yeah.
He has that. And I talk to my students about that. However he does it, try and emulate that, because it's awesome.
It feels real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels really real. I was surprised that you were able to come out as Santino Marella.
Yeah, so the big thing, I guess, in 2021, somebody did not renew the trademark. And as a habit, when Impact gets guys that were former WWE guys, they look up the trademarks. They have to come up with a name for me. What can they call me? Saint Tino, or, something?
It could be Anthony.
Yeah, no, nobody wants to see Anthony. I found out, nobody really wants to see Anthony. They're in fact disappointed when they see Anthony. But it was available. Impact grabbed it. And they say, hey, great news. You can be, which makes it so, I was going to have a great time anyway. But the fact that I can be Santino Marella and be the genuine article and not a knockoff.
Yeah.
It was just the icing on the cake.
I can't believe they didn't renew that, because they renew everybody's trademarks.
I wonder why. I wonder. I mean, either somebody dropped the ball and, with COVID, and maybe there's some changes, or maybe they thought, what's the point of really holding on to it if we're not going to make money off it?
But it's like a few $100 to renew the
Oh,
trademark.
I didn't even know. I never even looked, actually.
Yeah. Oh, so you don't own it. Impact owns it.
Impact owns it, but they let me use it anywhere I want.
It's amazing to me that as we sit here right now, there are still people that are blown away that you don't speak with an Italian accent.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's funny because I put stuff out on social media in my regular voice.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing a promotional video for an independent thing, I'll do my accent. So I do both, really. But yeah, some people, they still haven't heard it.
If we were to have Santino pop in here for a second, what's your favorite match of all time, Santino?
As Santino?
Yeah.
Oh, there was a one times I was wrestled with Drew McIntyre. It was a blindfold match. It was here in Las Vegas, as a matter of factuality. And I won the blindfold match. And later on, Josh McIntyre,
Josh McIntyre.
he became the champion. So I beat a current champion.
I love that it's just like that.
Well, it's funny because I'll be doing let's say we're doing a pre-tape backstage, and
Yeah.
I'll be talking like this to somebody in the 3, 2, and it's on, right? It's just I can flick the switch.
You're not like Daniel Day-Lewis. You got to live in that character all the time.
Oh yeah,
You're not going method.
yeah. We were out once, and this is before I met my wife, and this girl, it's like she liked Santino, and didn't like me, and I'm like, well, you want me to just pretend I'm Santino if we go on a date or something? Anyway.
Can we only go to Italian restaurants? Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, her face when I just stopped the accent was like, what happened?
So you mentioned it. You have small kids. You have 3 kids.
Yes.
WWE fans will be familiar with your oldest kid. She's crushing it. She's
a
crushing
megastar.
it in NXT.
Yeah, so she was identified young.
Bianca, but Arianna
Arianna Grace.
Grace.
When she was a child, everyone would just come up to me and like, this kid's like going to be something. She's like a superstar. She's going to be prime minister. She can do anything. She was just articulate, and her personality was incredible, right? So now all of a sudden I have all this pressure. Like, I have to be able to nourish this. I have to be able to get her where she needs to go. If she has all this potential and this talent, if she doesn't become a superstar, it's because I dropped the ball. So we had some very serious conversations when she was 8 years old, and I'm like, you're born to be a superstar.
When she was 8,
and I said, I don't know how to take you to Hollywood. I don't know how to get you there. But what I can do is I'm pretty good at this wrestling thing, and WWE, they make movies, WWE Studios. So I'm going to go become a professional wrestler, and then we'll make those connections, and then I'll pull you in. That was the plan, the 18-year plan, we call it. And so I had to go. I left. I had to go to Japan for a year, and I went to Kentucky for a couple of years. And it was hard for us, both of us. It was very hard. But it paid off, It paid off when she got signed, not when I got signed.
She definitely has this it factor, this charisma that when the camera's on her, whether she's cutting a promo or she's in the ring, you can see she has it.
Yeah, she cut a promo when she was 11 years old at OVW. So she was down visiting me. And let's say promo day was like Tuesdays. And I said to Alice, no, I said, can Bianca cut a promo? And he's like, yeah, of course. Like he thought that was great. So the next promo class, it was the end of class. And I guess he thought, or I was just, wasn't serious kind of thing. But anyway, so at the end of promo class, I go, can she do it? He said, yeah, of course. So she went in the ring and she crushed it. And it was like, those like comedy movies where someone makes a speech and it's like quiet for 2 seconds and then everyone erupts.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. And everyone that was there, Maurice was there, Miz was there, Beth Phoenix was there, Alicia Fox was there. Anyway, people I can remember because every time they always mention that promo. And yeah, she crushed it. I think it's on my Instagram somewhere.
So 20 plus years later, you're a dad again. How different is it this time around?
Oh my God. So I loved being a dad when Bianca was little. I had Bianca in university.
Wow. Where'd you go to university?
Concordia.
Oh, wow. I went to Laurier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So between second and third year, Bianca was born.
Wow.
And my university experience was very different.
Sure.
I was the national champion my first year. I met her mom that summer. She was on the way in second year. She was born in the summer. And, we were living in Montreal together third year. And then by fourth year, I had to go back by myself to finish my degree. So it was hard. And during this whole time, I'm on the national judo team and wrestling in university. It was, when I look back, I'm like, how the hell did I even do that? It's crazy. But at the time, it was just what it was, but I loved it. I loved talking to her. I loved just driving, and she's in the back seat. The best conversations, Grocery shopping was fun, just talking and teaching, and she was amazing. And I always thought I'd have more. And then I'd be on the road, and I'd be thinking, I'm like, am I just a parent of one? Like, if it is, that's great. It's awesome. It was an awesome experience. I go, I just feel like there's supposed to be more coming, man. And I'm like, but the clock is ticking. I'm getting older and stuff. And I met my wife in 2014, and we were on the same page, man. We wanted a family and stuff. So now I got my son Marco, who's 4, and my daughter Milena, who's 1.5. And when someone is, let's say, walking down here, and they're like, ba-da-ba-ba-da-da-da-da, and you go, this guy's in love.
Yeah.
I'm like that every single day.
Oh, I love that.
I wake up, and I don't even post stuff because I don't want to be that guy that, okay, we get it, your life is awesome, I don't want to show off, but I'm living. I'm in love. I'm in love with my kids. I'm in love with my life. I'm in love with where we live. And I'm excited to go to bed. because I can't wait to get up and do it again. And hear my daughter, she's starting to talk now. So, and it's incredible. And it wasn't always like this, man. When I was before COVID, I was working 7 days a week at Battle Arts and putting on shows and birthday parties and all that stuff. And I was dreading the next day. I wouldn't go to bed. I'd collapse on my bed. 16-hour days. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying this. This sucks. I'm trapped here. And I had so many different opportunities come my way that I couldn't take because I had to work. I had to be at the gym. I had to do everything. And in 2020, I sold part of the gym. So I have partners that run the day-to-day. I got my life back. And now I look forward to every single day. It's an incredible blessing, to be honest. I don't even want to. Sometimes I don't want to show my yard. Or it's just because I just don't want to be a show-off guy. But it's amazing. And my son, so you have these blank canvases that you can just paint and instill and teach. And it's not brainwash, but it's kind of, like my son is 4, and I'm trying to make him like my daughter's very, very conscious, right? And I said, look, we're the lucky ones, man. There's people that can't walk. We can. We're lucky. There's people that don't have food. We do. We're the lucky ones. And he understands the concept that we are the fortunate ones, And just watching him grow and develop into this mindful little boy. He's like the perfect little boy. He wants to play fight. He likes to cuddle. He lets me carry him and stuff. But the first time I get action figures and this guy talks and this guy talks, and I see him, he was like 1.5 or 2. And he's like, okay, I get it. You play the voices for those guys. And the next day he's playing with action figures. So, and you can tell them everything you want, but they're watching. Yeah. They're watching. And people don't realize that. Some people say, oh, do as I say, not as I do. No, they're watching.
I'm soaking all this in right now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm going to be a dad in 3 months.
I know. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I knew it would happen eventually. And now that, we decided, all right, we're ready to have kids.
You know what it is?
We're having a girl.
Hey. Okay. So every guy wants a boy. I think The Rock said it, but every guy needs a girl. My little daughter is like my heart. I melt. And it's actually bringing back memories of Bianca. When I just oh my God, cuddling. And it's weird. God, last time I cuddled with Bianca, she was in grade 8. And we're on the couch. And I'm like, shit. She's going into puberty, man. It's not right, man.
They always say that. There's that phrase of you never know the last time you're going to pick up your kid.
Oh my
for
God.
The last time.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry, man. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I picked up Bianca, but even my son now, he still lets me carry him. But Damian Sandow was over at the house, and we were coming to the house, and he did put me down, for a second. I was like, oh. So that was a little one, and even there's these stages. Bianca was little, and I closed the door. She's in the bathroom, eh? Get out, privacy. And I'm like, sure. What? You're 2, man. I lost my train of thought.
I just don't know what I don't know what it's going to bring for me.
Yes. So the first 6 months are kind of boring. They're literally, you look at them and it's wonder and amazement. But then when they get mobile, crawling and walking, that's shit hits the fan, right? Now you gotta you can't turn away, and that's the most dangerous time when they can walk. That's in the cartoons when they walk off and the I-beam comes up and they go to different floors. And then when they can talk, they love the fact that they can communicate. Up, down, no, hot, whatever, basic words. But then when you can really have conversations, that is the best. When you can actually when you can actually teach. I took a picture last week. It's just me driving. My son's in the back, and that's my classroom. When I drive him to whatever, those are the best conversations. We talk about everything, life in general. Yeah.
Do you think you have 2 more pro wrestlers growing up in your house right now?
Well, Marco recently, he hasn't watched a lot of my stuff, but he said when he grows up he wants to be a wrestler. But yeah, I don't know. He's going to have the opportunity to watch his sister.
Yeah.
So Bianca watched me when she was in, how old was she when I debuted? She was 12 when I debuted. So yeah, she wasn't a kid already. But he's gonna watch his sister. And the youngest one is the aggressive one.
You give a lot of hope. Like when you talk about, like, everyone focuses on DDP, not starting wrestling till he was 35. Like, this is the same type of story that I don't think gets enough focus, that you were later on in your career when you got that opportunity.
Yeah, I was 31 when I started learning like WWE style wrestling. I didn't lock up till I was 31.
See, that's amazing. There's so many people that are 27 that go, I'm too old now to go to wrestling school, so that's too bad. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know what? I had the ability to make it very believable in anything I did, and I brought it to life, And there's a big difference when you play a wrestler or you become a wrestler, Bully Ray, we were talking about him earlier. When he cuts a promo, he's legitimately mad at you. And he's not pretending to be mad. He's mad. He taps right into it, and it's real. And that's every good actor is like that. Mark Henry one time scared the hell out of me. Before we went out there, he just looked at me and said, when I get out there, I'm bulletproof. And I was like, okay, like smile and say just joking. Like, but and the look in his eye, I'm like, he wasn't my friend for a second, man.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Was he bulletproof when you got out there?
He is bulletproof. I remember one time, I think Ryback was like throwing me over the top rope. And they go, Mark Henry's going to catch you. Oh, he didn't even take a step back. I guess, yeah, he's obviously the world's strongest man. Like legit.
Who was your favorite person to be in the ring with?
That's a good question. So Jack Swagger and I had this hilarious match that it was like there wasn't a wasted step. We wrestled a lot, so we did it all the time. We would tweak it and modify it, and it was like, I don't want to say it was the perfect match, but I mean, there wasn't a wasted step. I mean, the audience popped every time. The referees were popping. The doctor was popping. It was a fun match. So that was a lot of fun. Tagging the Usos, like when Vladimir Kozlov and myself were tagging, like the Usos are like amazing. Like I didn't have to look. I knew they were there. And they were always where they had to be at the right time, and I could just bank on it.
Yeah.
Primo and Epico, awesome wrestlers. I guess those are some of my favorites. Yeah.
What you're doing right now, I think, is really interesting and impact, because the title you've given yourself, or the title that they've given you, that's never been a term in wrestling before, the DOA.
Yeah, and that's, what's the other option? General manager.
General manager. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, but this is new, right? It's that's the whole idea, is to not just repeat.
But it's that you're also like DOA, like a 3-letter organization. You're coming out with the badge around your neck. It's great.
I love it when
the DEA.
Yeah, or like the FBI jacket
Yeah.
and stuff. And I actually went and bought like tactical pants and tactical boots. Tactical boots are expensive, man. They're like $400.
What?
Like police boots, yeah.
Should have just bought the actor version of those.
But it's funny, like I flipped the badge, and now I'm working with Dirty Dango. He's my deputy and stuff. So we have tons of fun. I was reading some of my like lines I have today coming up when we're doing TV today, and I'm laughing reading them. It's just funny. There's some really, really funny stuff. And if you like comedy, Impact Wrestling is where I'm at, so that's where it's at.
With everything you've done in your career, do you think that you've had a Hall of Fame career?
I don't know. People say
You're like, I hate this question.
no. My friends tell me that. JTG used to always say that. He's like, even if you stop now, you have a Hall of Fame career.
100%.
Really?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, for the comedy category, I was.
There's no category. Well, there's the celebrity wing, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah. If they do it, that would be a great honor. Actually, I'd have my daughter induct me. I was kind of stepped away, and I was kind of done being on the road, and I was kind of over being Santino, and I wanted to be just myself again, and I was myself, so WWE, for example, is not even my last chapter.
Yeah.
It's like 3 chapters ago.
Yeah.
And Battle Arts is a huge chapter in my life. We're coming on 10 years in 2020. That was Labor Day 2023 is 10 years since we opened.
Wow.
Fastest 10 years of my life. And then moving up north is a whole nother chapter. I've never lived in the country before. I've always lived in cities. And then the kids, it's a whole nother chapter. So like WWE is, and then coming back on the road with a lighter schedule is amazing. It's another chapter.
When the chapter closed with WWE, did you hang on for another few months or a year going, oh, they'll bring me back? This can't be forever.
No, because I had my neck issues, right? I had a double cervical fusion. I couldn't wrestle anymore. And I knew that the clock was ticking. So I started my business while I was still there.
But you didn't need to wrestle to be Santino.
Yeah, I thought they were going to keep me around, to be honest. I wanted to do a general manager gimmick there. But I was cool with it, man. It was nice to, it was strange, liberating feeling, actually, when it's like I'm me again. Like I liked me, right? Me got me there. I was hungry, and some of the best memories in the wrestling business is not when you made it, is when you were hungry. And I was living in a little efficiency apartment in Louisville, checking the price of food to get the cheaper one. Like I was stretching. I couldn't work in the U.S., so I was living off savings. And God, man,
they didn't get you a visa?
No, for OVW.
Oh,
OVW. I just drove down as a student. I had rented an apartment. They probably shouldn't have rented me one. I was just like a tourist,
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my bank account was just going down and down and down and down and down. And I actually ran out of money the day before I got signed. And my mom, who worked at the bank, was like, Anthony, your bank account's getting kind of low. And I'm like, it's coming. They say it's coming. They're like, hold on, it's coming. And, I got some, someone would give me the Iggy, like, the office is talking about you, man. They're watching. They keep going. You're doing good. I was the only non-contracted guy on OVW television. And I cashed in like RSPs. I did everything. I had to borrow $400 actually once from my mom. And then the next day I got the call. So people are like, oh, you got your dream job. And I go, you know what was better? Avoiding disaster. Because I would have had to go home, 32 years old, parents' basement, with my daughter would have, how do you explain, like, I didn't get the job done. I would have to reformulate a game plan. I mean, I didn't want to think about what the hell would have happened if I didn't get signed. I was all in. I was like the definition of all in. I was all in.
So with that story in mind and the fact that you were right up there on the brink of not being able to do this, what do you tell your students when they're trying to break into the business?
Well, Dr. Tom told me, he goes, there's three kinds of people in this business. Those that say, I'll give it a shot. Those that say, I'll try my best. And those that say, I'll do whatever it takes. And I knew which category I was in immediately. I did whatever it took, It's tough being a coach because the success rate is very low. I've had hundreds of students, and I've had 2 or 3 people get signed, If you walk in and you're not attractive and you're not strong, like you're skinny, and there's anomalies, but you can't bank on being an anomaly. You have to really improve your odds by looking like a pro.
Yeah.
And you don't have to figure out how to train and how to eat. That's out there. You just got to have discipline. And some guys, I use this analogy all the time. I went to the Louis Vuitton store in Paris because Randy and Ray like Louis Vuitton. And I saw a wallet, and I'm like, I could rock a Louis Vuitton wallet. 6,000 euros. I'm not willing to pay that price for this. And a lot of guys that want to be professional wrestlers, when I say to them, listen, you got to train 10 times a week minimum, if not 12. I mean, you have to do, I was training 3 times a day at OVW. So I was away from my daughter, and I'm like, if I'm going to be suffering like this, I'm going to maximize every second. I go to private classes at Rip Rogers in the morning. I go to LAC, the gym, and just train like crazy. Come back for Al Snow's class. I trained I burnt myself out at one point. I got sick and I had to take a week off. And that I wanted to reach that point, to know that I was doing everything I could. If I never burnt out, how did I know I was doing as much as I could? But a lot of students, when I say, look, you got to train 12 times a week. And they're like, "Ugh, I'm not willing to pay that price," just like the Louis Vuitton wallet. And that's a conversation you have to have with yourself. Right? If you're not willing to pay the price, then you don't get it. Right? But sometimes guys walk in 6'6", good looking, and all right, there's a softball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm blown away by the people who have been wrestling fans their whole life, go to wrestling school when they're 18, 20, whatever it happens to be, and they've never stepped foot inside a gym like to lift weights.
Oh my God.
But I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, you've watched wrestling your whole life. Maybe you're not going to look like the Ultimate Warrior, but you should at least get some cardio in you. You should at least get some muscle definition, some tone. That blows me away.
Yeah, I mean, so with my students, I have a conversation. I said, "What are your goals? You want to work the indies? If that, which is a completely valid goal."
Yeah.
I had a female student that said that. She goes, "I just want to work the Ontario indies." Great, that's doable. And when she got to a point where she was good enough, she now works the indies. And but if you tell me, like honestly and legitimately, that you want to do this for a living at the highest level, then we have an understanding. That, okay, let's get to work. And if you're not changing your physique over a year, I'm probably going to lose interest in you as a student because you don't want it. Well, I'm going to, like, you can lead a horse to water, we can't make them drink, kind of thing. So if I give you a prescription, it's okay. You are going to work out this many days a week. This is your diet. I even give them diets. I give them workouts. And if you don't do it, let's imagine going to the doctor and saying, "I'm not getting over this pneumonia. Did you take the medicine?" "No." Well, then get out of here. Go take the medicine.
Yeah.
So we have that understanding.
Yeah. What do you think of some of the other comedy gimmicks that are going on right now? Like, two that come to mind right now that are very popular: Danhausen and Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, well, Orange Cassidy, I had a conversation with him. He's great. He secretly got ripped there too, eh?
And that guy can work.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
I actually was showing, my son had his hands in his pockets and he fell in the snow in his face. So I actually was showing him Orange Cassidy stuff with how he fights with his hands in his pockets. No, he's great. He's great. And it's, the creativity is incredible.
Yeah.
The Danhausen, I love his character. I'm not as familiar with the in-ring stuff. I don't watch a lot of wrestling, to be honest. I'm watching Treehouse. You'll be watching Treehouse too. You'll know all about the Wiggles.
Oh, the Wiggles. Wake up, Jeff. That's all I know.
Yeah, now it's Lucky. There's a new guy.
Oh, Jeff's not there anymore?
No,
he's still sleeping?
Yeah, no, there was the original 4 Wiggles, and then there's like the new Wiggles, and now there's even like newer Wiggles.
Wake up, Jeff.
And Blippy.
I've heard of Blippy.
Yeah.
I will be learning about this. It's interesting. I pointed this out to other people that if you go to AEW's YouTube channel and you look at their top 10 clips, Orange Cassidy is in like 6 or 7 of them.
Oh, wow.
Because his stuff's so shareable, right? You don't have to be a wrestling fan to watch an Orange Cassidy clip or be shown an Orange Cassidy clip and go, "Ah, I get it. That's pretty funny."
Yeah, he's great. And we were talking because some people, online would say that that's like a dream comedy match between him and I and stuff like that.
Could it happen?
I don't know. I'm gonna wrestle probably quarterly, like 4 or 5 times a year. My body's it's very banged up, and
you don't really have to take a lot of bumps though.
No, but it's just any bumps or some like I have a herniated disc in my back, and I showed up to wrestling banged up already from years and years of judo and amateur. And judo is like super, it's impactful. It's throws, right? So we're practicing bang, 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 getting slammed like hundreds of times in practice and stuff. And so I've my workouts now basically consist of like rehab type exercises. I'm strengthening, my hip flexors and my adductors and my glutes, and like it's not just chest and back anymore. It's all these like my tibialis and all these other small muscles. I do want to do I'm turning 49 next month, so when I turn 50, I want to compete at a world's VJJ for my age group. So I'm kind of trying to prepare my body to go and grapple a little more.
Well, look, the forbidden door is open from Impact AEW. So you showing up in AEW, to have a match with Orange Cassidy is very possible.
Yeah, I recently did a guest appearance for NWA, and so I mean, the working relationships that Impact has with other companies is encouraging, but I will see. You never know.
But you're not done.
I mean, I'm there. I'm working, right? I mean, I'm on the show, so if they need me to wrestle, I'm sure I could squeeze out a match.
It might be hard to narrow down to just one, but what's your favorite moment in your career?
Oh gosh, winning the OVW television title. That was my first title ever, and it was an incredible moment. So Boris, so I was kind of doing a little comedic character, and then Paul Heyman was sitting in the rafters and watching us practice one day, and caught me in the parking lot. He said, "I want to debut you on OVW television as this very serious Russian MMA shoot fighter. We're going to change your name." Oh, because my first coach was Don Koloff. So I was Boris. So Rip Rogers gave me the nickname Boris. So I had this, epiphany. I'll be Boris Koloff, because I think there hadn't been that rendition at the time. So I was Boris Koloff for a while. And then Paul Heyman changed me to Boris Alexiev, because Vince was a fan of the Russian power Olympic weightlifter Alexiev. So just that name recognition, which was I thought was brilliant. And I'm like, well, how are these guys gonna believe me? I've kind of been doing some comedy stuff. I'm in the intermediate class, and he said 3 weeks they're gonna forget anything that you did in the past. So I came out and squashed someone. Next week came out, squashed someone. Next week came out, squashed someone. And then when my music would hit after that, it was like the atmosphere in the Davis Arena was insane. People would be going, fight, fight, fight. Like they thought someone was getting their ass whipped. And there was no one really doing the MMA gimmick at the time. I've been doing hard strikes, a really, really stiff, strong style, big throws, submissions, and super aggressive. And I forgot what it was.
You won the TV
title.
title.
The TV title, yeah. So I was making, working up. I was like an unstoppable force. And so I had a tag team partner at the time, Mr. Stronco. But Paul Heyman wanted to put me on TV, so Mr. Stronco became my corner man. So there was a little faction at OVW. One guy, Bad Seed, and he was pretending he was blind. So he was Blind Seed. So he had the cane. They would make a distraction. And as Mike Cruel, who was an awesome wrestler, Rosa Mendez was in this faction. So they would distract the referee, throw the cane, hit someone, throw it out. So the audience knew that because they did it every week. So finally we collided. And when they throw the cane, Mr. Stronco intercepts the cane. He catches the cane. And the place goes ballistic because they know that's it. There's nothing in the way stopping me now. But Dean Hill, who was a commentator for OVW for many years, the way he called it, Stronco intercepts the cane. And we laugh about it now. I talked to Serena Deeb, and we'll just text each other, Stronco intercepts the cane or something. And and then that was my first title. So it was for a small arena, only 300 and some odd people. It was electric. It was real, man. Shawn Michaels even says it. The first time was real, man.
I love that.
I was in tears. It was awesome.
I love that. I love that you came by here, and I love that we did this in person, because the last one was in a completely different world. It was at the end of 2019.
Yeah, gosh.
We did that at the big event in New York, and obviously a lot has changed for both of us personally, and a lot's changed in the world. So good to just be able to catch up with you. I end every conversation with gratitude, because that's a big part of my life. So what are 3 things in your life you're grateful for?
Oh my God.
Right now?
My entire life. Obviously my children. The lifestyle I lead in, my health and stuff. Yeah, I practice gratefulness every day. So
I love it.
And it's funny because the more you do, the more good stuff happens to you.
And the more good stuff you start to see in the world too.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
I love that, because it's so easy to go, I can focus on all these negative things here. Or you can flip that over and start to look at all the great things that are happening in your life.
Yeah, I don't watch television very much. Like the
Treehouse.
Treehouse, yeah. I don't watch the news. I'm pretty good these days at posting and ghosting. Like I don't stay online as much. I like to see funny videos or whatever, but getting into it with people and debating. There's so much negativity out there, and I want no part of it. I live my life with a sense of urgency. Like I want to leave it all in the field. You know what I mean? Every day is an adventure. Every day is an opportunity to do something fun. I want to have the most fun life. And now it's like legacy. I my email is AC to the max, and it's been like that's my first email ever. And it's because I live my life to the fullest every single day, every day. Even if it's making lunch, I try and make it like it's a thing, you know. And okay, gather around. So everything's a production.
I love that.
Yeah, it's yeah. I'm super grateful.
Yeah. Well, grateful for this time that we spent together.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.